Hi everyone, my name is Nyla. I'm a public health educator, and I think I've held up long enough. So it has been almost 4 weeks since we lost our baby girl. So this is how it started. So I was entering into my third trimester feeling like some type of accomplishment because this was such a difficult pregnancy and I knew it could have been short-lived. So going into my 28-week OB appointment, my husband and I were on edge as usual, but also we were hopeful because of our previous OB appointments. Unfortunately, this OB appointment was a lot different than our others. And unfortunately, during that OB appointment, my OB could not find baby girl's heartbeat. She said she didn't even see any movement, which meant that baby girl had passed away. She sent us to maternal fetal medicine department for an ultrasound to confirm that baby girl didn't have a heartbeat, which was also confirmed by the bad news doctor. So, the bad news doctor said that based on what she saw from the ultrasound, it looked like she had passed away that week. And when she said that, I thought about it, because that was on a Friday. It was July 15th. So that Wednesday, I remember, in the middle of the night, I went from being always hot, because I'm usually was super hot. I always have the air and the fan blowing on me because I'm hot. Then all of a sudden, I just had some super, I started having chills, and I just went extreme. I just got extremely, went from being really hot to freezing, and I'm shivering. And I had to have my husband go ahead and turn off the AC, turn off the fan, because I was freezing. I went from sweating to freezing. And then I was literally over thinking, I hope there's nothing wrong with the baby. And when the bad news doctor said that she probably passed that week, I was thinking maybe that was the sign that she had passed. And my body went from sweating to freezing and then back to sweating again. But one thing the bad news doctor did suggest, but she suggested having an epidural early. She's like, since I've already been going through so much mental and emotional pain, to not have to go through the physical pain too. This was all new to my husband and I. I've never been admitted into a hospital before. Them telling me that I'm going to be induced and I'm going to be there for up to 3 days. I'm like, what do I pack? Because usually when I see people say that they're packing a hospital bag, they're packing things also not just for themselves but also for the baby. But this time we know that we are packing just for us. And I'm like, I don't know what to pack. We were told that I was going to be induced that evening. We went back to my OB's office and she told us what to expect. And that's when we started sending out text messages to all of our family group chats on WhatsApp, not realizing that everyone was going to respond at the same time, respond right away. I didn't think about that. We're sending out texts to multiple group chats we're in, and then everyone's responding at the same time, asking questions and whatnot. So that evening, me being admitted to the hospital, the resident comes in to the birthing room and she gives me the rundown of what to expect. She tells me that she's going to use Cytotec, which are pills that you insert up next to the cervix, three pills like that you insert next to the cervix to soften up the cervix, and so I will be able to dilate. And I thought that when you get induced, because this is what I've heard before, when you get induced, that you're getting an IV. I thought I would be getting an IV, and then that would be my induction. No, I had 3 pills pushed up to my cervix that was not comfortable at all. And she said she was doing this every 4 hours. So the very first time she did that hurt so much. If I could kick her, I certainly would have. Oh, I would have. And then she said she's coming back in 4 hours. She did this 3 times. Just lovely. The first round of contract. The first round that she did this, I really wasn't really feeling any contractions. I was like sitting in the hospital bed watching HGTV, chatting with my doula while my husband was reading a book and listening to I don't know, listening to whatever on his headphones. The second time the resident came in to give me cytotec, that hurt so much. She said that she could feel the baby's head and she had to go underneath her head to get to my cervix. Oh my gosh, that hurt so much. Just imagine how that felt. And when I said to my husband, I said, just imagine someone squeezing your balls for like 10 seconds as hard as they can and then letting go. That was the only thing I could think of that actually would be, you know, like comparison, I guess. But that second time, that cytotec was starting to kick in. And I was starting to feel some parts of contractions. And I don't know why I was holding off on the epidural. Like I asked for Tylenol. Tylenol didn't do crap. I was like, and then I asked for like the narcotics that they're giving. I'm like, that actually took like the edge off a little bit so I can sleep, because I hadn't slept all day, all evening. I had been up since that next morning, and by this time it's probably like around 1 in the morning. Like I think it's like 1 in the morning, and I hadn't slept at all. My husband, of course, he was in and out of sleep, but I was starting to feel pain, so I couldn't sleep. So the narcotics took a little edge off, and that gave me like, I don't know, maybe close to an hour of like some shut-eye, if that, I'm not sure. But then my doula and I, thank God for my doula. Like seriously, she was keeping me company. She was helping me with like pain relief positions. Yeah, thank God for my doula. And then I was like, screw this. I don't want to deal with any of this pain, any of this. I want to be able to go to sleep. Let's get this epidural. And by that time, I was only 2 centimeters. When they told me I was 2 centimeters, I was like, this is going to be all day. This is going to be a really long process, and I'm only 2 centimeters. But once I got that epidural, oh, I could see the rainbows and the unicorns. Oh, I felt amazing at that time. With the epidural, they told me you can't get up to use the bathroom. So they had to put a catheter in. And I actually thought the catheter was like the best invention ever. like literally. I don't have to get up for the multiple bathroom breaks that I was doing for like the whole pregnancy. Like I was getting up to use the bathroom, like it went from like every hour, maybe 2 hours, maybe like every 10, 15 minutes. And I'm like, now I don't have to get up to use the bathroom. But once I woke up from my well-deserved nap, that's when I started to feel a lot of pressure. Then all of a sudden, while I was having a conversation with my doula, I felt a gush of water come out. And I'm like, so I had my husband check the sheets, and he confirmed that my water broke. Then the nurse had to come and she had to change my bedding so I wasn't sitting in a pot of water. And then a few minutes later, I felt something weird. And I was telling my doula, I said, I don't know if I have to fart or do something else. Because something's coming out. Literally, I was thinking something's coming out. When you have an epidural, you don't really have control of what's happening in your lower half. So I had my husband once again check underneath the sheets. And when he did, he said he could see her head. And I was in shock. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. You could see her head? He said, I see something brown. I'm like, check again to make sure it's her head and not something else. And he said he could see her face. So I was like, oh my gosh, okay, this is happening. So we called the nurse, and the nurse, the doctors, they all came in a matter of seconds. They told me to relax and to take deep breaths because my OB's partner was on her way. It was time for us to deliver the baby. And I asked the hospital staff if they had ever like delivered a baby that had trisomy 18 before, and none of them have. So I was saying, well, this is the first for all of us. When the attendings showed up, we were ready to get started. And they asked me if I wanted to see her after delivery, And of course I wanted to, but I wanted her to be like covered up first beforehand, because I knew that her intestines were going to be outside of her body. I knew she had a club foot. I literally wanted to see her face. And I have to say, considering the extremely difficult pregnancy that I had, of me crying practically every single day because I was carrying a sick baby, and we knew that we would not be able to take her home, I had extremely easy delivery. Like I gave like 3 pushes and she was out. She practically slid out. And I could see on the attending, the resident, and the nurse's face that they all wanted to cry, because who wants to deliver a stillborn? The doctor covered up my baby's deformity with the blanket, because we knew that there was a sac hanging outside of her body. I was doing so well up until right now. I'm telling this story. Oh, man. Okay. My husband was the first one to see her, to actually tell me what she looked like. And honestly, I was so nervous to know what she looked like. And then I think about like, okay, yeah, we delivered a stillborn, and then I think about, for my own selfish reasons, I wanted her to be born alive. And when I think about that, I'm like, I also was praying that I did not want her to suffer, and I did not want her to be in any pain. And if she was born alive, she definitely would have been in pain, because for just to hear that scream of, of her being in pain, that her intestines are outside her body. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I would have done just to hear that. So then I think about like, okay, God knew what he was doing. I would not have been able to handle that at all, of hearing her screaming in pain, all because I wanted her to be born alive. My husband and I created this tiny baby girl. She was 13 ounces, 10 inches long. She wasn't even a whole pound. I gained 20 pounds being pregnant with her, and she wasn't even a whole pound. But they were able to keep her in the same room with us for the whole time of us being in the hospital. So in my mind, I was already thinking like, oh, she's just a sleeping baby, even though I know she's not. Her soul is not with us. And the hardest part, our hospital stay, was when they discharged us on Sunday. And my husband and I had to go one way, and the nurse had taken her the other. And that hit home with us, knowing that she was not coming home with us. We named our baby girl Noor, that means light in Arabic, considering everything that we went through having her. She has brought so much light into our lives with the short time that we had with her. She has let us know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And what comforts my heart is knowing that she is in heaven, playing with all the other babies that don't get time to spend with their parents on earth. I look at her pictures every day, because we took pictures of her, and I do miss being pregnant with her, even though I had to use the bathroom all the time. Even though towards the end it was getting a little uncomfortable. But I know she's okay, and we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. She's okay. I don't want to continue crying on camera. So I'm going to end this here, and thank you so much for following along on this journey. Thank you again. Thank everybody. I want to thank everybody who has reached out to me, who has prayed for me, who has who's given us things. I want to thank everybody. Everybody knows exactly who they are. Thank you so much. Thank you again, and bye.